Hey guys, Glockster42. Well, I'm just about done this Amusing Hobbies Lion Paper Panzers 46. Not a bad kit. It's not great, but it's not bad. There's a few little foibles and things that I think Amusing Hobby kind of dropped the ball on, but well, let's just go over it here from the turret up. The lighter gray stuff is things that I've added. I took a late model Panther G cupola and mounted it on there. You won't see any periscopes. The periscopes are all built as if they're done. I will put a figure in there. I added another little piece on top of the turret. I want to find something to simulate a sight, a little bit more detailed sight. This kit comes with turned aluminum barrel, but there's no mention made of it in the directions whatsoever. So if you're going to use the muzzle brake, you need to actually open the hole up. It's just a half circle locating pin on that, so you have to open that up. I drilled all these all the muzzle brake out with a pin vise, cleaned that all up, added a few little of the hooks along for foliage on the hooks. This really reminds me of a T-34-85 turret, so not very German looking, but we're Germanifying it up again with the cupola, and I want to find a different sight for it. Alright, moving over to the chassis. Let's start with the tracks. The tracks aren't really a nightmare, but they're not super great. One of the things that I think Amusing Hobby kind of blew it on is the fact that they used a very, well, let's put it this way, by beginning of 45, the Germans had already moved away from this type of a track. It's basically one link. They use a link, and then a center spacer, which the Germans in their last model of King Tiger had already moved away from. So I kind of wish Amusing Hobbies would have thought a little bit more and give us the single pin track with I think it's a 18 sprocket drive shaft. The Germans, like I said, the Germans had already moved away from this style of track. And another thing you need to really watch out for is on these rear idlers. They connect right back there, and they're a half circle. So what you really need to do on these is drill it out so that this idler can pivot. So it can pivot back and forth. And what happens is on both sides of this thing came up exactly 1/2 length too long. So when it came up, this piece here would have had to go between the two to excuse me, even it out, but it was just not quite long enough or not quite short enough to fit that in properly. So what I had to do was that let's see if I can find it on this one. What I had to do is basically trim the connecting pins off of both sides and just butt them together. I was able to do that easily because we have to add ice cleats to this kit. Each of these ice cleats have to be added afterwards. So I hid the double track guides back in behind one of the idler wheels. But had I left this rear idler wheel able to float back and forth, I could have shortened it or lengthened out the track, and it would have been absolutely perfect. The first time I did it, I thought maybe it was my construction, but on this side, the second side I did, it was exactly the same thing. Without being able to tighten or loosen that rear idler, you can't build it as it's shown in the box. But all in all, it's not bad. Tracks aside, I've added a couple of Dragon fire extinguishers. I've added a Dragon from a late model Panther G. The heater assembly, this still has to have the photo etch put on. Photo etch, they get to come on. I added Dragon headlights from the parts box, and I added some Dragon tow hooks as well, and some more Dragon tow hooks back there. And I also added the late model anti-flame mufflers from late model Panther G as well. Put them on there to update it, because by the end of 45, this was pretty much the type of muffler used in all German tanks, versus the old style Series 1 Tiger exhaust that the Amusing Hobbies kit came with. I added a couple of steps and grab handles on there. I still have to put the photo etch fenders on there. They're okay. They're not too bad. I've also gotten rid of all the Pioneer tools along this thing because they were just looked to be just haphazardly thrown on. And I've taken this toolbox from Elephant and added it on the side, showing where all the Pioneer tools would have gone. The wire cutters, the pry bar, and all that stuff. You know, as opposed to having it scattered all over the tank, I just popped them in there. I still have to put on a tube on the back for the gun barrel cleaning kit. The gun cleaning rods needs to get mounted back here. That's going to go on, and it'll be actually something like this that I've taken from the mouse, or the E100, and it'll be mounted up right back there. So the line's coming along good. I'm gonna have lots of time here in the next little while. Lots of time. If you've noticed there, you can see the old hospital bracelet. Yeah, I went back to see my surgeon on Thursday, Saturday today, and he hustled me out of the clinic, and the next day I was at the infection control center at one of the hospitals in town. Turns out I have a very nasty, very nasty bone destroying, bone marrow eating bacteria from this friggin' wisdom tooth. So I am on 24-hour a day IV for antibiotics for the next 6 weeks. And with the job I have, there's no possible way I can go to work with this pump on. I can't do what I'm paid for, so I get a unpaid 6 week summer holiday, which kind of sucks from a financial standpoint, but you know, from a health and living long standpoint, you know, it may not be so bad. So yeah, I got a hole in my arm, and Monday I get to go in and they're going to put one up in my bicep, a permanent IV that's it's gonna get into a vein and run down towards my heart. Groovy. That'll be in for 6 weeks. So gonna have some model building doing. I'm gonna go camping on the weekend. We're camping in the middle of the week and say to hell with it. And I get to change these bags out every 24 hours. Yay me. This is what it is. Citrafenoxane. It's pumped out at 2.2 milliliters per hour. As you can see, and today I've got 5.9 milliliters into me, and I had 100 mils of antibiotics pumped in yesterday at the hospital. So, look after yourselves, guys. Get off the bench, get some exercise, eat healthy, eat right, lose some weight, and life's pretty damn short. You don't realize how short it is until something like this comes up and kicks you in the ass. I know the Atomic Dog lost his dad here a couple months ago, or a few weeks ago, I'm not sure. But look after yourselves, boys. Model's fun, but exercise, eat healthy, and enjoy life. Later.